Welcome to Cyber Studies. If this is your first time here, my name is Giovanni. So today we're going to get into some objects, whether it's arrays or hash tables. Without any further ado, let's get into it.
All right, folks. So as mentioned in the video intro, today we're going to be doing objects. Now, in the previous video, we talked a little bit about variables and how we could actually manipulate that information, the properties of, and do some really cool things with it. One of the cliffhangers we left there was the old $_, and we're going to get into there shortly. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a quick little get process. And as you can imagine, there's a lot of stuff going on here. It's kind of hard to read through this. It's just spitting it out. So what we can do is we can do a get process, and we can actually, we can pipe that into a sort object commandlet. Now what this is going to do is take the information that we originally have, all of this, good data, and we're going to push it to the next thing in the pipeline. And now we're going to sort these objects, and let's do process name. That works. So while it's still a big combobulated mess, it is now at least sorted alphabetically. So while that could be useful in this particular use case, not so much. Where we can utilize this a little bit better is we can do our get process as mentioned, and we can actually do a little bit of filtering. So where our object, we're going to throw this in here, some brackets, do our guy from the first video, and we're going to do off of the CPU. Now, we talked a little bit about how we can utilize some of these flags. The GT would be greater than in this particular use case, and we're going to say 50. So what this should do is it's going to pump out the get process commandlet that we asked. We're going to filter on where the objects are going to be anything in the CPU property greater than 50. And if this works correctly, we should give it a lot cleaner of an output. So we can actually utilize, we can, further, along with, right? So something kind of cool there. Now, this is all fine and dandy. This is cool. We're using the objects. We're passing them through the pipeline here. Another thing we can talk about, and I kind of mentioned it in the intro, are arrays and hash tables. Now, these are both really important data structures, right? And depending on what you do, your mileage may vary. But arrays are more of like a collection. Think like a list of things. Whereas like a hash table is more of like a dictionary, more hash table, more sorted out information, right? So let us dive into, oh man, my fingers. Let's get into something like this. So we're gonna do a menu, and kind of basic, again, for our use case, nothing too fancy here. And my fingers are just all over the place. We're going to do our brackets. That's my practice. And we're going to do something like dinner. We're going to do drinks. Hopefully you can kind of see where this is going, right? Oh, I missed my comma there. And just one more for sake of completion. We're going to do appetizers. Sure, right? So what we have here now is an array, things that we can kind of work with. Let's do, oh my goodness, the microphone's in the way. I can't see anything. Menu. This will now list out our values. And this could be useful in a lot of different ways. But the idea is that you can nest different values in this one object, right? You can do some different stuff with it, but the main case is it's going to be a list. It doesn't have to be, strings or words. It can be a lot more useful than that. But this is a really cool way to go about, collecting a lot of information, keeping them nice in one sorted spot. And you can manipulate it later. Now, we did talk about hash tables. Hash tables are going to be a little bit more, I would say more useful just in general. Hash tables can be manipulated and turned into custom objects. There's different ways you can go about this, right? So anyways, let's go into a good example. I'm actually just going to throw this in here real quick. All right, so we have here hash server. Okay, cool. And what we did here was we basically said, hey, we're going to have server 1 equal this IP, server 2, this IP, so on and so forth. And we can actually see that here. Boom, like that. Looks a little bit nicer, a little bit more usable, right? Now, it doesn't stop there. So we can do something like hash server, and then we're going to do add. And we want to say, we want to add another server in there. So we can do lowercase server 4, and then and then we're going to make up a IP 192.166.1523. And then there we go, and voila. We now have added another server with a value to it, right? This is kind of cool. So we can do some other stuff. We can do this, we can do set. With these ones, the syntax is a little bit different. I'm gonna make sure we got everything's good here. We're gonna do set item. And this is kind of similar to like a commandlet. It's a little bit different, but same, different. And we're gonna call upon that server 4. We wanna make sure it's nice in case in there. And then we're gonna separate that with a comma. My fingers are not working tonight. And we're just gonna make up some really different looking IP for the sake of standing out a little bit. Voila, and do the hash server. And just like that, we're able to manipulate it. So I use this example of servers and IPs. Surely you can go through and change your data sets for your use case. Again, for just the sake of the video. That's something kind of cool to have. Now, I did mention earlier about the PS custom objects, right? Now, this is cool because, oh, excuse me. You can utilize some of the .NET capabilities by using this. You're manipulating things through the pipeline still, so you can do it with the cool custom objects. A little cheat code, if you will, if you're using, what is this, PS3 and above, I believe. Don't quote me on that. You can actually just slap this bad boy in here. I'm going to go ahead and cut to that real quick. All right, so... All right, yeah, so what I did here is I basically took the original hash table that we had made, and I'm just gonna go through here and change this front portion to this. All I did is I added a variable right here, and I added this cool little bracket, PS custom object. And what this will do, did I fire? Did I break it? Okay, I was like, why did that not work for a second there? Okay, so now we have this. We do have the availability to manipulate, right? So we have this. We can go into .server, see what this does, and what this will do is we'll actually output just the IP of server 1. This is where it gets really cool, right? So you can do your own cool little stuff. You can kind of modify it the way you want to do. I think it's pretty neat. And this gets kind of cool when you start getting into, your, Visual Basics. So you can kind of do some really cool coding, scripting with this, all over the place. So I know this is a very high level review. This does not go really deep into the weeds, but you can kind of see where this is useful, right? You can take this information and you can create large data structures with this. You're managing a bunch of stuff. You can start adding a bunch of different properties behind these things, and you can start divvying it out and doing more cool stuff. So An idea for the next video I'm thinking about is just taking a nice script that I come up with and just reverse engineering it. Let me know what you think about in the comments. Otherwise, this is a quick wrap up on a few of the data structures, hash tables and arrays. If you like what you saw today, please consider liking and subscribing, and leave me a comment down below. Let me know if there's something I can touch on, work a little bit better in the videos here. Thank you for your time. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.